Hey everybody, that's John and
Brittney.
we are going to talk to you guys about Birds of Prey. We just went and saw it, and what did you think? What was your first thoughts going into it?
Going into it, I was really concerned because I know that DC has not been that great over the past few years.
They don't usually make good movies.
They've not. It's not comparable to Marvel movies, even in the slightest. I know I loved Wonder Woman, but I think I am quoted as saying, I want to go see that new Harley Quinn movie. I want to go see that hot mess. Because I figured it was going to be bad. So my expectations were pretty low.
My expectations were kind of low, too. I watched Doug Walker's review on it. He did his review a little while back, and he said it was really good. I was like, okay, I still got low expectations, so I don't know what to think going into this, other than I'd heard that it was actually pretty good. And surprisingly, yeah, I had a wonderful time watching that movie. Yeah. I'd definitely go see it again.
I would definitely go see it again, too. I was pleasantly surprised. If you set the bar low, though, it could,
well, even with a low bar, I kind of feel like this movie overexceeded expectations, even if my expectations were higher.
Yeah, I think it was good.
So I guess what we can do right now is we can give people kind of a rundown of the story without giving spoilers.
Without giving spoilers,
yeah. So basically, this is about Harley after she breaks up with Mr. J and how she deals with it, and the group of friends that she ends up making really towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, you don't really see the friendship build until the end. It's kind of like a puzzle. It all comes together.
And it's not even like it was a friendship that built. It was just one of those things that you see her kind of interact with some of these characters, but not as much as you think, and then she doesn't interact with them until the end of the movie when they had the boss-ass fight scene, and that was an amazing fight scene.
It really was.
It wasn't the best thing I've ever seen in the world, fight scene-wise. I mean, Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace has some of the best fight scenes, in my opinion. Okay, she hates the prequel trilogy. I'm not a huge fan of the prequel trilogy, and this is not going to be a Star Wars thing, but I think that the fight scenes were really good. With Darth Maul and Qui-Gon, those were really good fight scenes throughout that whole trilogy. They did a good job with the fight scenes. The story may not have been that great, but the fight scenes are actually still pretty good. Shut up. The one thing we want to talk about is not about Star Wars. We talk about Harley Quinn. The one thing about Harley Quinn that's really awesome is they do build up a very strong, independent female character without being cliche.
Yeah, I actually thought it was wonderful. Yeah. There were several female characters that they built up. It's not just Harley. Right. They built up all the female characters, and what I really liked, and I wish that women actually did this more in the wild, was how they complimented each other. They legitimately complimented each other. It's not a spoiler. At one point, Harley Quinn turns to the Huntress and says, "You're so cool. And,
you're just so cool.
You're just so cool." And
this is like a sleepover. We should order pizza.
Yeah, they genuinely like each other, and I like seeing women portrayed that way.
Yeah, so it was more real.
It was more real, yeah.
It was a movie about superheroes.
Yeah.
I thought it was good in the fact that, yeah, they don't really show a lot of the interaction between them until towards the end, and when you see them kind of becoming more friendly. I won't say they become friends, but they definitely become more friendly. Three of them end up teaming up together and forming, obviously, the Birds of Prey as the title. That's not a spoiler. That's in the title. It happens. But this was actually a pretty good Harley Quinn movie. I think they did a good job with it. Story-wise, it's all about Black Mask wanting this diamond back that the little girl, what was her name? I can't remember her name. It was like Cass. It was like Cassie or Cass or something like that. And she ends up pickpocketing the jewel out of one of his henchman's pocket, Victor Zsasz, which, by the way, Zsasz is one of those guys who I've known in a lot of the Batman Arkham games. but you never see his face. You're always following his victims until you finally find him and help the police catch him. He's a serial killer who likes to cut people up, and that was his thing. Like when he cuts the face off the dude. Yeah.
No, that was Black Mask thing.
No, that was Victor Zsasz' thing. Black Mask had him do it, but Victor Zsasz loved doing it.
Oh.
Like you see when he cuts the guy's mask off, it's almost like he has a euphoric moment, and that's what we're going to call it nicely. That kind of Silence of the Lambs-ish. But Ewan McGregor did a great job as the villain.
He was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. He was probably one of my most favorite villains. I won't talk about how what ends up happening to him at the end of the movie, but I will say this: it is pretty epic, and you need to go see it.
Yeah,
and it's it's a good movie.
So oddly enough, it is not as funny as I thought it would be.
I mean, it had humorous moments.
It had humorous moments,
but I don't think it was as funny as Deadpool.
Yes, and I think
it wasn't as tongue in cheek.
Yeah, it wasn't as tongue in cheek.
I feel like it was. I feel like the humor was very natural. You know?
Yeah.
It was like very natural humor. It's like she's crazy, and this is how crazy deals with Gotham.
It wasn't campy or slapsticky or raunchy like I would describe the Deadpool movies.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of going in expecting that level of humor.
Like a Deadpool ripoff.
Yeah.
They didn't. They ended up finding their own voice.
Yeah.
It's like DC does a terrible job with their male characters, but when it comes to writing their female characters, they do this amazing job. And it's like if they just kept doing all female movies, I think DC's got something there.
Check us back again when Wonder Woman 1984 comes out, though.
Yeah, so I mean, I've got some reservations about that one.
I have the one major question that
how did Chris Pine come back? That's my reservation because I'm like, are they pulling a Captain America? Because that was the whole reason I went and go see Wonder Woman. I was like, I'm not going to go see a ripoff of Captain America because that's what it looked like to me. It looked like, okay, she's just Captain America World War I though. But then I saw it and I was like, I feel awful for saying that because this is a good movie.
It's very, very good.
And like, I think they're going to Captain America Chris Pine.
I think so too, because in the end of Wonder Woman, he flies away in the plane.
I'll talk to him in a second.
Okay. He flies away in the plane, and that was my initial reaction when you see him in the trailer, because that's not a spoiler to the movie, he's in the trailer.
Yeah.
When you see him in the trailer, I was like, did he fly away into the Arctic like Captain America?
No, he exploded. His plane exploded.
Oh, I remember that part.
And they're bringing him back, and I'm like, why? What's the point of bringing him back? I mean, if that happens in the comics, because I don't read DC. Like, I'm not a DC fan. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Batman. And I love the Batman movies. And I love the Batman, the animated TV show. Shut up. I love the Batman animated TV show. But I was never a fan of actually reading the comics, except for, like, The Killing Joke. And Batman Hush was pretty good. So, and Red Sun, like, which is like an Elseworld type deal for them.
Yeah.
And it's like their version of Marvel's What Ifs. But when it comes to, like, a lot of the movies, like, I didn't like Superman versus Batman. I didn't like Superman, Man of Steel, or whatever it was. Like, the original Christopher Reeve movies, I like those. I liked those when I was a kid, and they were campy, and they were supposed to be. And I like the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, except for, like, the third one. The third one was kind of... eh.
And that franchise, the Christopher Nolan Batman franchise, gave us the Joker.
Yeah, they gave us Heath Ledger's Joker, but unfortunately we didn't get a second movie with Heath Ledger's Joker for very obvious reasons that we won't go into, that you all probably well know. But my thing is, like, with the new Harley Quinn movie, they talk about Batman a couple times, but you never actually see him. And in the back of my head, I'm going, Harley Quinn's in Gotham. She just blew up Ace Chemicals. She says, everybody's going to be after me. I was like, well, why isn't Batman after her? And I understand why they didn't make Batman after her, because if they put Batman after her, it's game over. It's like Batman. And this Batman, this Ben Affleck Batman, which I like Ben Affleck as Batman, don't get me wrong. I just don't like how the studio did his Batman. He's kind of crazy, and he's a killer.
I'm really excited for Robert Pattinson's Batman.
I actually am too. I think he's going to do a really good job. And why is that, babe? What did you say?
Because Batman hates himself, and nobody hates themselves as much as Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
It's true.
It really is. But What else do we want to talk about? Do we want to talk about any other characters?
You get great introductions to the Huntress, Black Canary. They're introduced here, and they're
Montoya, like Officer Montoya, which I want to talk about her real quick. Yes, she's a cliche cop.
It's terrible. But she's supposed to be.
But she's supposed to be, and they make fun of that throughout the whole movie. It's like, well, if we make fun of the fact that she's a cliche cop, everybody will love it. But at the same time, you're like, but maybe don't make her cliche.
Maybe create a character.
Yeah, maybe create an actual character. I think she had the less character, but she is one of my favorite characters, though, because I remember Montoya from the Batman the Animated Series. She ended up getting an episode with her, a rookie cop, and the detective. I can't remember his name. Oh, God, I'm feeling as a Batman fan right now.
Is she related to Inigo Montoya?
No, not Inigo Montoya, baby. Detective from Batman. Not Batman movie.
While he's Googling that,
yes.
I will say that during the fight scene, she was not a strong fighter. And the whole time I was like, the cop that I feel like it's a professionally trained to do this is fucking bad.
Harvey Bullock, by the way. There was an episode of Batman the Animated Series with Harvey Bullock, the rookie cop, and Officer Montoya, where they all go to this one scenario with Batman, and they're all giving their accounts of what happened to Batman, and they're reporting to the DA. They all lose their badges, like turn your badges in, like every one of them. But then Montoya's like, you know what, I'm gonna go take care of this myself. So she goes on her own power and finds out what happened and ends up getting her and everybody else's badges back and clearing their names for not screwing up because they didn't, and proving that Batman actually was the hero in that moment. So she was one of my favorite characters throughout the season. They kept bringing her back, and that was one of the reasons why. And they brought her in. They did a pretty good job. They updated her. She's a lesbian now. I don't know if she was a lesbian in the show. I don't think she was.
She was in the movie. You're right. In the movie.
She was in the movie.
I had to think about it. I was like,
no. Her DA girlfriend was pointless.
Yes, I feel like that was kind of, but I mean, it gives a good nod to the LGBT community and gives them representation.
Yeah, but if we're going to talk about representation, it's not good representation.
She's a good guy.
She's a good guy, but it's not good representation. I mean, they don't really.
Oh, as far as actually executing the representation part,
they don't execute the representation very part. That's something that Hollywood needs to get down the LGBT representation a lot better than they used to. That being said, like, let's talk about one of the other characters real quick. A character that I actually really enjoyed and I thought could have had more screen time. Black Canary.
She was amazing, and I don't know if you guys know this. I pointed it out to John that he didn't notice it.
I didn't catch it. I thought she looked familiar.
You didn't catch it. I was like, oh, I even enjoyed her when she was a child actress. And John was like, well, what was she in? I was like, I'm sorry. She was Michelle Tanner's friend on Full House. She was little, I think, Susie.
Yeah.
She had the most beautiful hair, curly hair, and
best little attitude ever.
Best little attitude. She's so sassy. I really haven't seen her in much of anything else, but I'm really glad that she's back.
Yeah.
Because she did great.
Beautiful singing voice.
Beautiful singing voice.
If that was actually her singing.
Oh, if it, yeah. Yeah, I think, and she was nice to look at. I mean, if we're going to be honest.
If we're going to be honest, she was very beautiful.
She was very pretty.
Beautiful. I loved her hair, though.
Oh, so nice.
Right.
Everything. Just she's so well put together.
Yeah. And I think it was pretty cool that they cast her as Black Canary, and I really like the fact that they talk about. Now, this is one thing that Doug talked about that I want to talk about too, and I disagree with Doug on this particular point of thinking. He said that they should have used her power more. She uses her power once and she's done. And Montoya tells her at the very beginning, you know, you inherited your power. I know you've got it. You've got it from your mom. She goes, yeah, my mom died in the streets, and where were the boys in blue back then? Nobody helped her. And I was like, okay, that's a really good thing. Let's talk more about it. But no, it's mentioned once and it goes on. I was like, okay, well, that's going to be saved for the end of the movie now. That's what Doug was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But she uses it once at the end of the movie because she doesn't use it at all through the movie. She uses the black canary power once, and then she kind of passes out from it. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense, though, because she chooses not to use it. She chooses not to be a superhero. She chooses to not do what her mom did. Therefore, she doesn't use the power. And when she finally does use it, and she uses it to save someone that she cares about, someone that she wants to use it for on her own terms, she doesn't use it a lot, so therefore she's not good at using it. So, but she does use it and it knocks her out, and it kind of drains her energy.
Yeah. There was some foreshadowing to it. They foreshadowed it to it. It's very small, and I didn't know much about the character, so John had to tell me, oh, that's her power. And I'm like, oh, okay.
But they build up Black Mask as this really awesome, hard-to-beat villain, and to quote, I think it's Screen Rant, or maybe not Screen Rant, it's the Pitch Meetings guy, it was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
I mean... He had an army. Like, there's a hint.
Yeah, he had an army, and I guess his superpower was he was super rich and
that's Batman's superpower.
Yeah, that is Batman's fair point. That is Batman's superpower.
Why can't it be Batman?
There are reasons, but I can't go into it without being a spoiler. So we talked about Montoya. We talked about Black Canary. Let's talk about the little girl before we talk about Huntress.
Okay.
I don't know what she's from. Like I said, I'm not a DC fan, so. I don't know if they did the character justice or she was just created for this, but I liked her. She was cute. The bond that she makes with her and Harley, kind of like a big sister, little sister type deal, where they're sitting and they're painting their nails together and they're eating like cereal, and they live above the Chinese restaurant and after betrays her. Like that's a spoiler. I'm sorry, but you know,
something's gotta happen.
Something's gonna happen.
You gotta have a plot.
But at the same time, it's kind of like something is about to happen with that character because of, like, honestly, it's just foreshadowing. Because when she talks about somebody and it zooms in on them, it's like she's drawing over their face like in a yearbook, and she puts around this guy's head. And I'm like, he's gonna betray her.
Of course.
Like that's just gonna happen. Something shitty's gonna happen with.
Somebody's got to.
And it was shitty, and he apologized to her, and he said, I'm sorry, it's just business. He goes, I gotta look out for me.
And that's realistic.
It is. It's extremely realistic. And I thought, like, right then, she goes, okay, yeah, sure, it's just business. And then she would kill him. But she couldn't bring herself to kill him because she did genuinely love that guy. And that was cool. I love the hyena. I wish they'd done more with it.
I loved the hyena. And the beaver.
And the beaver.
And the stuffed bear. What the fuck?
Oh, okay, sorry. So in the scene where Harley goes, it's from the trailer where she goes into the police station and starts shooting people up with a beanbag. In the lockup evidence room, there's a giant stuffed bear. I don't know what that's a reference to.
There's some reason.
It has to be a reference because it's just kind of there. Like, it has to be a reference to something. What is that reference? Is it a reference to Brave from Disney?
I mean, for some reason, I found myself during this one looking for those Easter eggs, which usually I try to like sit back and enjoy the movie and not to. But this one, I don't know. There was just something about it that I was looking for the Easter egg. The bear was one. She has a dog collar or like a dog tag. It says Bruce, and I thought, the name of her hyena. Yeah, I thought that was going to be something to do with Batman because Bruce Wayne.
Well, she did name it after somebody, but the line was so muddied. And muddled that she says, I named it after so and so, and I couldn't understand what she said, and I'm like, I wish I could rewind it.
Oh, well, that so and so is probably Batman.
It could have been Batman. She could have named it after Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Which would be hilarious.
I think she did.
And yeah. So, but let's talk about one of my favorite characters, a character that I actually know a little bit about besides Black Canary, and that's Huntress. I used to have a comic book with her and Robin teamed up, and it was a really Batman's Robin. And she teamed up with Robin. It was a really cool comic book. Like they just went around as a team kicking people's butts. And I thought they did pretty good about kind of updating her costume. And Ramona Flowers did a good job portraying her. I just like that she's supposed to be this dark, brooding hero. And whenever they're talking about her, it's like, do you know who I am?
She's awkward. She's cringy.
Crossbow killer? No, she goes, I'm Huntress. God damn it!
She's supposed to be this badass, but at the same time,
it's kind of cringy.
She's cringy, and
it's
relatable.
Like it's this edgelord backstory. They do her backstory and everything. She's such an edgelord, and it's just great, and she just owns it.
Yeah.
And like when the girls talk to her, like, you're such a badass, you know. And they're like, I fucking love that name. Is what they say.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, it's so good. I love it.
I love the building up of the ladies.
Yeah, they do a good job. I love you. Sorry, we're being dorky. But yeah, so all in all, I'd say that if I was going to rate this movie, I would give it I I don't see any reason to not give it a 5-star.
Like out of 10?
No, like out of 5.
Oh, I mean, you think Birds of Prey is Titanic level or Forrest Gump level? Or...
So I'm going to go ahead and say some unpopular opinions right now. I like Titanic, but I don't think it's the greatest movie ever done. I love Forrest Gump, but I don't think it's better than Star Wars, and that's one of my favorite films.
Forrest Gump is my favorite.
Like Empire Strikes Back is one of my favorite films. The Mandalorian series is great, but I don't think Forrest Gump is. This is not my cup of tea. I love fantasy and nerd stuff.
I mean, I guess it is all opinion based. And Tom Hanks only won an Oscar for Forrest Gump. I mean,
Oscars mean nothing to me. We're going to edit a lot of this out. But no, I definitely would have to say Birds of Prey is pretty awesome. Maybe not a 5. Maybe give like a 5.8 out of 5. Yeah, a 4.8 out of 5. That's what I meant to say.
Oh.
A 4.8 out of 5. Because there were some problems with it. I can't go into those problems without giving out a lot of spoilers. But I think that there were some problems with the film, but they weren't so glaring that it would detract from it.
I would say for what it is, it would deserve its 5 out of 5.
For a DC movie, it definitely deserves a 5 out of 5.
I mean, it's not Wonder Woman level, but it's...
Yeah, I would definitely have to say it's not Wonder Woman level.
So maybe that 4.8.
Yeah, but like, something to give Deadpool a run for its money, definitely.
Yeah.
I definitely felt like that.
Without, giving into cheap jokes and pop culture references that are not going to be relevant in 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of pop culture references in this, were there?
No,
There's just kind of within its own lore, within its own cosmos.
But Deadpool, it's all the pop culture references.
But you gotta admit, that's kind of Deadpool anyways, because he's a fourth wall breaker. So whatever movie he's in, whatever era movie he's in, he's going to know these references.
True.
So there is that to consider as well. Because he's so insane, he knows that he's not real. But Harley Quinn just knows that she's insane. But at the same time, she still has her knowledge and her PhD and everything.
Yeah, I liked that they actually...
My computer's taking off.
They actually gave her more personality and used her PhD and what she was actually training to do. Yep. And this one, so
yeah, she was a boss ass bitch.
She really was.
Yeah,
it was a flock of boss ass bitches.
Lizzo would be proud.
So proud.
Yeah.
Lizzo, go see this.
Go see this, Lizzo. You love it. Anything else we want to talk about? Did we forget anybody?
The Chinese food.
We have Chinese food or Chinese food, so I guess that's the end of our review. Go see Birds of Prey. It's an amazing movie.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.